Well, hello again, and welcome to the Spirit of Watercolor. And I'm so glad to see you, and welcome new subscribers. I looked yesterday when I was at a theater and just looked at my phone just to see if anybody new had come and joined us, and you have. So I'm so happy and hope that this is good for you and that you're gaining some inspiration and motivation and tips and tricks about watercolor with us. And today I thought, because all artists, any of us who are involved in and excited about the creative processes, and watercolor is our medium, right? But it can be hard sometimes to stay motivated. Right now I'm actually in the flow, and I'll show you. There's just paintings coming out of me right and left, and it's June. I don't know if it's the time of year or it's just the time of my life right now, but I'm very thankful for that. But I have had years where and moments each year where I struggle like anybody with what you call the artist block. Today I want us to get out together. We're going to take a walk to the park. You can go on your own walk to your park, or you can go with me on this video for a short walk, and we'll find something inspiring. And then we'll bring it back to the table and we'll paint. And where I get this from is my very old books, which you'll see all over YouTube and all, she has her own website, Julia Cameron. This is a very old version. The book doesn't even look the same on the cover anymore, The Artist Way. Mine is probably one of the first editions, way back when I was in college. How to write your 3 morning pages and then go on your artist dates, right, and your walks. The walks is the third part of this, which allows us to get in the creative zone. And I do write the morning pages. I've kind of fallen off of that. I mean, I've still been writing them, but not for the same reason, as before. But now I need it more, so I've been writing them. Just get up in the morning and write 3 college ruled paper sheets, and then I'm going to do the artist date with you. So let's take our walk and let's get inspired together, and then we'll meet back at the table. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and we'll just keep getting each other going and motivated. Okay. And this is showing you my creative table right now is a bit crazy, right? I mean, I've got things all over that I paint with my art group. Thank goodness for that. If you can find an art group, that's a good thing. And this is from my roses book, and these are, I'm into nature right now, flowers a lot, obviously, and birds, right? Things like that. So right now I'm in the zone, but again, there are times when I'm looking at a blank sheet of paper and I don't know what to do. So this is how these are the things we do, those things I mentioned, and we're going to go on that walk now and see what we can get excited about together. And you can photograph your own. You don't have to do mine, but you can, do what excites you, or, you're interested. You're like, I'm curious about the color of that tree or flower or that little bird or duck or whatever it is. Okay, so I'm on my way. I'm on an artist date, okay? And you're supposed to go by yourself. I'm heading down, I'm going to go down to Mary Beth Doyle Park. And we're going to look around and see what is so beautiful or so sublime or whatever that excites us. So you can see I'm headed down to the park and got on my hat and my sunglasses. I've got on my sunblock because we don't want to, in case you're there a while. But the other thing is that we don't want to necessarily, there's 2 ways you can do your creating here. You can do what I'm going to do, which is photograph things and then come home and go to my studio table, or you can take your pencils and pens and sketchbook, and get out here and spend some time. Then you really need the sunblock, though. Okay, on this side you can hear, I don't know if it's frogs or birds making that strange sound, and songs of birds everywhere. It's just one. And there is a lovely breeze, and I see the water in motion that's so lovely, and you can hear the trees rustling. There are some little wild daisies growing, or they look like little daisies. Aren't they something? We'll catch a photo of something close up like that. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here, but it's some kind of flowers going all along the water there. Isn't that something? Well, I've made it to the bridge here, and the water's high. We had a lot of rain yesterday. In the morning, a ton. So it's beautiful here today. Maybe I should photograph that too. I'm not quite finding the thing I absolutely want to do, although the sky in itself is glorious, isn't it? Yeah. And now I'm heading home, and we'll look at our photos and make a choice on what we're going to paint. So by now you've probably figured out what I was going to paint, and this time on the walk I didn't see any really brightly colored flowers or any exciting animals or ducks. It was just one of those things where it was a beautiful day, everything was lovely. And so I just basically, chose whatever I was found the most memorable. So, I think we can take anything and make it a wonderful painting. So that's what we're going to do with the daisies. I think they're daisies or wild daisies. Very tiny. I don't think they get any bigger than what we saw. But I think, they're something, and the grasses and the background, it gives us something just to play with here, the different colors of greens and so forth. So, and maybe some of our earth colors too. So let's go for it. All right. Okay, so here you see that I have my sketch, and I have my tablet has the photo of the daisies, the little mini daisies that we chose, and here's our drawing. Okay. And I drew it in again with watercolor pencil, because then I can erase, or not have to erase pencil lines. I used these warm to cool greens, the light to deep greens there, and the watercolor pencils to draw. And we're going to use different greens around the daisies. Okay, so I have, all these wonderful greens that we use in the past if you've painted with me, except I've also added undersea green to the sap green, green gold, and deep sap green. And then our daisies will have yellow in the center, and of course I have several favorite yellows, which I think we'll try and decide. I'm going to use probably all of them instead of just one, because we have nickel azo yellow, and we have azo yellow and lemon yellow, and they're similar but different enough where, one's warmer and some are cooler and brighter and lighter. So you'll get a little bit of variety just for dimension on those and add interest, because even if they all look the same to us, maybe they're not the same. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to mask in with either artist mask fluid or permanent fluid, or it's called permanent masking medium, or both, and try that, because I've always wanted to try this. But we'll mask out those daisies there. So I'll put that masking fluid on, and then we'll start to add our colors. Also, one thing, there's some darks in there, right? Like browns, darks. So I might use some lunar black and some, maybe burnt sienna or something like that in there in the back. So, and we'll have a lot of fun. And it's, again, it's not going to look just like that, because that's not how I like to paint. I like it to look like more vibrant and more, like exciting and watercolory. So let's go for it. Okay, see you. Using my incredible nib and a tiny plastic palette, I put the fluid in the palette on one of the pockets, and we're just applying it to the daisies now. And I'm using the thinner side mostly of the nib. There's a thicker side, sort of tapered edge, you can use as well for larger petals. So there we go. And not doing them all to be laborious on this video, but you can do that yourself. And here's just the finished, after it's dry. The masking fluid has a slight yellow tint to it, doesn't it? Although some masking fluid is bluish colored, light blue, and some is completely white, so you can choose what kind you like. And so I'm pulling my greens onto my palette. At the bottom there you'll see some of the ultramarine on the palette, not in the pockets, I didn't have room, but I have my light green gold at the top, and then the sap green and the deep sap green below that in the pockets, and then the undersea green, which has this mossy feel to it. It's kind of very granular and earthy, so I'm just randomly kind of putting these colors on the palette with my first wetting the paper with a clear mop brush, and then coming in with these different colors just for variety. Here you can do it more, less randomly and more specifically. I was just going to have fun and let the colors kind of do their thing here. And eventually, as it's starting to dry, I get a little more idea of where I want which colors. And just as it's drying, the paint doesn't flow as much, so you get a little more detail going there. It's really cool. So play with these kinds of things where you've got your forms masked in so that you don't lose them, and then you can kind of get loose and free with the watercolor and really enjoy what it does, so much of it of its own accord. As I'm going, I'm adding some darker of the greens and stronger concentration of color toward the daisies as I get closer to them. I'm kind of all over the page here. It's like you can go, from the top with flat wash all the way across if you want. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it, but I just kind of like to just go all around the paper. That's my way I've learned sort of with my watercolor at Eastern Michigan, and try to work all around the page looking at everything as I'm going. So you can do it that way or the way that is more comfortable for you. Here I'm continuing, the different greens all around. The green gold, the sap green, the undersea green I'm putting close around and under the daisies because it's very granular and mossy, like I've said. I really like it. And then, we're just dabbing in, the deep sap green as well, just kind of varying the different greens. Some are warm, some are cool, makes things come in and out. It's just, what I call subtle perspective. I don't know if that's a real thing, but that's what I call it. And then, we just keep going till we cover the page and, get as close to the flowers as possible. You can actually go right over the flowers, but don't go into the centers where we're going to have the yellow center of the daisies. So again, looking at our photo of our mini little daisies, wild daisies, you can see here, I'm going to show you that I have, the masking fluid still on the daisies. I've got to get it off. It's been on a few days, but also now I put in, and I'm going to get as close as I can so you can maybe hopefully see some of the permanent masking medium, which I've used. And it's in this leaf here over top of the green, and green gold is some of the lighter green there. I put it in, but we're gonna go ahead and put in a glaze of more greens, maybe some yellows too, I'm thinking, because here you see all these various shades. And then we'll come in over with some more strokes of green grasses and such. And we can also detail in some of these leaves in the foreground and such as well if we choose. So I'll go until I feel like it looks finished. So let's do it. So I'm going to start at the bottom there, and I already got my mop brush out so I could just use water and wet the bottom mostly and a little bit of the top there too, so it can kind of soak in. And then getting out our round brushes, we're going to go in with the deep sap green, which I found out was transparent. The green gold is also, the sap green is not the actual sap green, so you have to think about the transparency, and then it will glaze over much nicer over the other green. And even at the top, I'm glazing in more green gold over green gold from the first coat, and it just really pops it out. And you can see as I'm going around and over the daisies that they're holding because of the masking fluid, and the permanent masking medium is in there, and you'll see that as it dries, that the little strokes that I did that create grasses will hold up under the stronger colors. Some places here I did put in another green. I don't know which one it is, but it's also a transparent. So I've got different shades of green to add the interest, right? And add dimension. The cooler, the warmer, it makes things coming forward and going backwards again. And let's not forget the yellow in the center of our daisies. And I'm choosing nickel azo yellow, which is my favorite golden, kind of a odd yellow. It's neutral, I believe. Sometimes I think it's cool and sometimes I think it's warm. I don't know how it can be both. But it just creates a warm and a nice glow in the centers. And there was some watercolor pencil I had put in there, a little bit of a rusty red kind of for some of the, and I might go in and do more detail into those yellows, but I'm going to decide that later. I'm just getting the first coat in of that. Can you see how I'm getting the deeper sap green in again? And it's, as the paper dries, it's staying more concentrated. When it was wetter, the paper, it would fan out more. So, we get a little more detail going in there. And you can get it as sharp a detail as you want, or like mine's still wet, so it's still kind of, the paint still kind of spreads when I apply it. But I kind of like that. Like I said, it's a breeze-like look. And I'm, getting closer to finished, and of course this is up to you how much more detail you're going to want to put in. Sometimes you have to stop, let it dry, and then make another decision. Do you want more of these grasses in, or is this enough for you? Let it dry and then decide again. And now we're dry. This is all dry, and I'm looking at it to see, you can see some of the permanent fluid here. And of course, I'm going to have to rub off the artist masking fluid, and I'm going to either use my masking fluid remover, which you can buy these, and they're kind of like an eraser, and I think you could use an eraser if you didn't have one, and you could lift this as well. But since I have this, and I don't think they're very expensive, you can go ahead and start removing the masking fluid, which I will do now. I will show you how well this works. And also, it's a little overdue. I've been waiting a little too long, but there you go. You see how that comes off? And I'm not going to do it all on film because that's just going to take a lot of time. So I will go ahead and do a little bit more for you, and then we'll come back to the video after I remove the fluid, decide if we need any more brush strokes. I really like some of this wet on wets here, and there's some like leaves here that I also used fluid on that I want to paint back into, some kind of greens maybe, or maybe brown or yellow, just to add some color variety here. But see how white it is when you take off your masking fluid. I just get it started and then I just pull it off. You don't want to rub too much, which is why this is so nice. There you go. I'm going to continue and I'll be right back. I added a little bit more of the sap green under the flowers to make them pop a little more and to create a little more sense of atmosphere in the top with the lighter green looking different than below. It kind of grounded the flowers, added little stems there too. Tried to keep this under 20 minutes, that's pretty tight. So thank you so much for joining me at the Spirit of Watercolor. And I hope you'll take more artist dates on your own and get inspired by the beauty and awe of this world. And what a spiritual journey we're on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next video. Bye for now.